What's going on, Husker Nation? Go Big Red. Brandon Holmes here, one half of the Blue Bloods College Game Time podcast, here to drop some insight on this transfer portal situation and the QB situation happening right there in Lincoln, Nebraska with Scott Frost and his revamped staff. But before we jump into that, make sure you guys hit the subscribe button right here below. Follow us on all our socials. We drop new content daily. So this is why you clicked on the video. Let's get into it. So as we've all known, this has been the craziest coaching carousel, transfer portal type of season that we've ever seen since the transfer portal has been around. Now, there's been a ton of quarterbacks, and there's no secret that Scott Frost has been on the road to find Adrian Martinez's replacement. Martinez jumped into the portal. He's going somewhere else. And it's no secret that you need a specific type of quarterback that can run that offense. Now, early on signings was the kid out of Akron who ended up nixing the whole idea. There were some talks that they were down at LSU to kind of look at some of their guys. And there were some heavy talks that Spencer Rattler was in the conversation big time, but he ended up committing to the SEC school in South Carolina this past week. So, there's still a lot of names. Now, UCLA just picked up a big-time commit with Gabriel Dillon out of UCF. Now, the name that I think makes the most sense for Scott Frost is Bo Nix out of Auburn. Bo Nix out of Auburn. Here's why. Hear me out. Here's why. One, the kid comes from a very similar system. He was recruited by Malzahn. They both run this spread option, triple option spread type of offense. He's athletic. He might not be as fast as Martinez, but he is athletic. He's also played in a similar system, right? So you don't want that learning curve to be too big. You want somebody that can come in and practically already run the playbook. All they have to do is understand and learn the new terminology. We know Frost likes athleticism in his quarterbacks. Nix gives him that. You know, he also wants to go experience based upon the kids he was recruiting out of the transfer portal. Nix gives you that. He's played in some big time SEC football games, not just SEC football games. As a true freshman, if you guys don't remember, he started the season off playing against Oregon in a big time game in a neutral field at Jerry's World in Dallas, Texas. Listen, the kid's coming in. He's looking for a place where he can play. And we saw earlier this year when he played Penn State, he could handle a Big Ten defense. He could handle the big-time game. And with Frost potentially being on the hot seat this season, this isn't a situation where you can just kind of test and hopefully you land. You need to land a guy that's a bona fide starter, a guy that you know can win big games, a guy that you know can efficiently and effectively run that offense, a guy who's been in this position before. Listen, the lights are not too big for Bo. Bo stepped into a big-time SEC program as a freshman, as I said before, a true freshman at that, at his dad's alma mater, following in his dad's legacy and his dad's footsteps. And this is why I think it's also a good fit for him. He gets to separate himself away from the legacy of his father. A lot of kids like to do that, and it's honorable and it's admirable, and sometimes it works out, and sometimes it doesn't. And I think in the situation with Bo, it just didn't work out. New coach was brought in. He was brought in to run Malzahn's offense. I don't think he wants to go to UCF, which isn't in a major conference. We know this for a fact. The SEC and the Big Ten are the two best conferences in college football. The SEC and the Big Ten are going to be the conferences that always have some team represented in the college football playoff. And this is what I'm saying. If you bring in Bo Nix, you increase your chances of at least playing for a Big Ten championship. If you look at Nebraska's schedule, it's very favorable next year for them to win the Big Ten West. The Big Ten West is not that strong. It's anybody's year. And like Nebraska showed you this year, the crazy part is they lost not one game did they lose by more than 9 points. Not one game. The only game that they even lost by that much was Ohio State. So it shows Nebraska's really on the cusp of being very competitive. They are competitive, but of winning a Big Ten title, or at least competing for a Big Ten title. And I believe, no slight to Martinez. I like Martinez. I like what Martinez did for the offense last year. But if he connects on a couple passes, if he doesn't fumble against Michigan, Nebraska's in a different type of scenario, in a different type of offseason, and maybe he's not putting his name in the portal. So that's what I'm saying. Go get you a kid that's a proven winner, that proves that he can win in the SEC, that proves that he can win on the biggest stage. That proves that it's not going to be a big-time learning curve because he's already ran a similar system. Go get the guy that can get your name off the hot seat, that can come in and be a dynamic playmaker, because let's just be honest, as much as I love the Big Ten, the speed and the size isn't the same as the SEC through and through every team in the league. So I believe Bo Nix's game will actually elevate to a whole nother level. And dare I say, he'll have a little bit more help in the skill position because Nebraska does look good in those parts. So I think Bo Nix and Scott Frost are a match made in heaven. Hopefully Frost is already kicking the tires on that to see if Bo would be interested. I don't see why he wouldn't be. It's a big-time program, big-time national brand, especially with NIL deals. In Nebraska, the Cornhuskers are like a pro team. There's nothing else to follow but the Nebraska Cornhuskers. So you have big-time chances to make some big-time money from NIL, and you put yourself in a position to potentially be competing for a conference championship. So I'm Brandon Holmes, once again, one half of the Blue Bloods College Game Time podcast. Hit that subscribe button, scroll through our page, man. We got some great content. My co-host, Trey Smith, he dropped some great stuff. And then we have the podcast. You can stream us on any platform. If you just search Blue Bloods, it will be the first podcast that comes out. But until next time, Husker Nation, go Big Red, and hopefully you get a quarterback soon. Take care.